Bruce gimped around the seedy waiting room of Nicholas Stick Maksutov. Stick's secretary sat at her gunmetal steel-grey desk, picking out a letter on an ancient underwood typewriter. Her cowfish udders almost burst out of her tight polka-dot dress, the pale yellow color almost perfectly matching her clearly dyed hair, teased in a page-boy flip so retro for a moment Bruce thought it looked hip. "When's Stick gonna be back?" Bruce implored seemingly.
"How many times do I have to tell ya?"
The blonde, whose name was Sally, but who went by Bubbles, responded irritatingly.
"He'll be back when he's gonna be back. You don't rush Stick, you know."
She typed another letter, looked over at a form, then typed another letter, looked again, typed another letter, then looked again, typed another letter.
You box them and you ship them. Then you box those cans over there, ship them. Then more of them will come in. You box those, you ship those.
Holy lady! Bruce wanted to scream, wanted to pick up the black rotary dial phone on her desk and throw it through the frosted glass window of the office door. He wanted to slap Sally, whose nickname was Bubbles, and then maybe ravage those udders and do the Madonna on those big red lips. Except he kept thinking of Callie. Poor Callie, still pining over the death of her beloved Henry, whose memory not even Bruce's hot sex could cause to fade. Although he was working on that. How had it come to this? Bruce asked himself, how had he, the teenage hacker who got into the Homeland Security system and fed them fake Al-Qaeda communications for over a month that resulted in a code orange alert that shut down international airports for 2 weeks?
I can't believe you've done this.
How had he, hotshot software developer Bruce Lucent, come to this? Using a private investigator to find out the truth about his birth. Well, kid, the wizened old Dick had explained 2 weeks ago when Bruce came to him. The Dick had explained, you see, in some backwater southern counties, they just haven't gotten around to computerizing vital stats. So here he was, pacing and driving Bubbles crazy, he hoped, waiting for Stick to come back with the truth. Why, Stick had called him that morning from a payphone of all things, and said he had a little job to do that morning, but if Bruce would come by at noon, he'd have a report for him. And oh, if Bruce could bring an envelope with some Benjamin in it, 40 of them, please, that would be swell, too. The truth! How hard could it be to find out the truth? Bruce wondered. The truth about his real birth had nagged him ever since, as a science project in 10th grade, he had done the genetic sequencing on his and his parents' DNA, and discovered, much to his surprise, that there was a 20 billion to 1 chance they were related. The uncertainty nagged him ever since, and now, with an annual salary about what Bill Gates made in a week, he had the money to find out the truth. The real truth.
Don't look for it, Taylor. You may not like what you find.
His reverie was broken by the creak of the door opening behind him. Bubbles looked up. The goldfish in the aquarium looked up. The Rottweiler snoozing before the gunmetal steel desk looked up. An old man asleep on the couch in the waiting room rolled over and went back to sleep. Bruce turned around and looked, saw, pondered, and was amazed by the awesome Hulk coming in the door behind him. Hey, Babs, Stick, accused fetchingly? How's Trex?
"Trix had to go home early."
Bubbles displayed resoundingly.
"Something about getting her hair done."
Trix is bald, Stick surmised.
"Well, she did say something about an 11 a.m. shadow,"
Bubbles explained. Bruce stood by listening to this inspiring exchange. The goldfish ate his lunch. The Rottweiler rolled over and parted. Finally, he couldn't stand it anymore. "Stick!" he burst out, exploring. "God damn it, Stick! Did you find my real birth certificate?" "Got it a week ago. Didn't you get my call?" "You called me yesterday," Bruce interpolated. "I did?" Stick inquired to himself. "Must slip my mind to call you earlier? You got the bennies?" Bruce reached into his breast pocket of his alligator hide leather jacket, but before he could pull his hand all the way out, the old man on the couch leapt to his feet and put a Desert Eagle 44 Magnum to Bruce's head.
"Hey, sweetheart, let me take that for you,"
the old man exclaimed.
"Just on the off chance you got a rod and not some dough."
The old man slipped his hand down Bruce's pants, poked around a bit, then reached into Bruce's jacket and took the wad of money, quotation mark.
He's clean, Stick, and he's got a schlong like Detroit,
The old man declared.
and this wad of dough ain't too shabby either.
Thanks, geezer, Stick pointed out to the geezer, who wasn't all that old really, just a tall, swarthy man in his early 60s with a snowflake scar on his hip from a commie round he took in the Nam, which changed the old man's life, whose name was Johnson, but everyone called Joe, ruining his plans to be a male stripper, and forcing him into a life as muscle for low-rent private eyes. Stick counted the money. Yeah, you got all the presidents here, he reasserted soothingly. So how about the report? Bruce inquired. Oh yeah, didn't I tell you on the phone? Stick inquired back at him. Dude, you're adopted, which you probably should have figured out since your parents are both white and, well, you're black.
Oh, snap!
And they told me they were light-skinned! Bruce screamed at his loving, adoring wife Callie, twice his age, but she didn't look it, what with all the good breeding, healthy living, and plastic surgery. Plus, Callie had inherited a wad from her dear beloved and quite dead husband Henry Archer. Biggest damn manufactured home make in the South. In Bruce's estimation, a rich middle-aged woman was a lot better looking than any young poor woman anyway. Honey, I'm sure your parents had your best interest at heart, Callie supplied soothingly. She fanned her heaving, ivory-skinned breasts with the report Stick had given Bruce. Adopted! Why couldn't they have told me the truth about my past? It was bad enough that I was horribly maimed in that auto accident when the truck driver ran the red light, slamming into our Cadillac and pinning my foot under the seat so that the only way I could escape the burning wreck was to saw off my big toe with the Swiss Army knife. Do you know the humiliation I faced in Boys' Gym? Sweetheart, at least you... Callie sniffed, her thick tears dripping off her luscious eyelashes and down the cavernous cleavage of her breasts. At least you had parents. At least you weren't raised like an evil stepchild by your long-lost uncles and aunts after your parents died in a terrorist attack in Crete. But my parents were white, honkies, the oppressor to the brother. Bruce roared menacingly. Well, they sure look black with the big afros and the Kent cloth suits, Callie interjected. It's hair dye and a really good perm. Bruce waved the report from Stick with the DNA analysis, the anthropologic analysis, and the birth certificate that said parents white, child black. Who knew? Callie analyzed. They fooled me, and you have to admit, your mama sure makes some mean chitlins. Callie tossed her thick, deep black locks over her shoulder, the curls falling to her hips and bouncing imploringly off her bookshelf ass.
Oh, look at that! I've got a considerable rear shelf!
That makes me uncomfortable!
She leaned in closer to Bruce, stood on her tiptoes, and ran her fingers across his well-muscled chest. So you were adopted. It's not like it's the end of the world. But now I know the truth, Bruce beseeched. Now I know my true heritage. I, Bruce Lucent, know who I really am. Who are you? Callie articulated questioningly. If those honkies aren't your parents, then who? Why, Stick never told me. Let me see that report, Bruce snarled grabbingly. He grabbed the report from Callie, and as he took away the crude fan which kept her cool in the sweltering Atlanta heat, Callie broke out into a sweat as deep as the Amazon River, and just as muddy. Ugh. Bruce ripped through the pages until he came to a crude photocopy of his real, actual birth certificate, the one with his real mother's name, his father being unknown, although he was rumored to have been a prominent segregationist senator. His own mother a black maid like his mother before her. My mother is, he rumored hesitatingly, Kelly snatched the report back. "Wanda June Jessica," she articulated. "Why, she's the owner of Jessica's for Ladies.
For the ladies?
The hair product company with a net worth of $55 million. Because they make such wonderful women's beauty products like Jessica's Glorious Tresses, the dye, conditioner I use to make my own incredibly gorgeous long locks so silky and thick." "She's my mother?" Bruce implored wonderingly. "So it would seem." Kelly slunk over to her stud of a husband and ripped off his alligator jacket, his tight black jeans, and his silk underpants. The ones with the little hearts on them she gave him for Valentine's Day she was pleased to see he wore. "Let's celebrate," she husked seductively. "Why, yes," Bruce suggested. "Perhaps dinner, champagne, dancing, maybe a show." "Oh, not that, silly," Kelly stimulated erotically as she locked her legs around him and planted sloppy, lipstick-drenched kisses upon his chest. "I was thinking maybe, visiting Detroit." She winked. "Georgia on my mind." Big thank you, as always, to all of my amazing Patreon supporters, particularly Michael Fattori, Break System BSE, and Zanazira.